Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. If you are new to my YouTube channel or to my Facebook business page, my name is Ginger Pierce, and I am a master planner with Marvelous Mouse Travels. Marvelous Mouse Travels is a diamond level authorized Disney vacation planner. That is the highest level that you can possibly be as a travel agency. And that just speaks to the relationship that we have with Disney, but also the level of expertise that comes along with doing that much work alongside them. So we are trained by Disney to be experts in their vacation products and work really closely with them. In fact, our agency owner is even on their earmarked advisory council where she's talking to them about all sorts of exciting things relating to the Disney parks and to the Disney Cruise Line. But we are here tonight to talk to you about Disney Cruise Line. My husband, Evan, who is going to join me right now. That's his cue. Um, Evan is my, right hand in all things, and not just in life, but also in this business. But we got to take just a family vacation through Disney Cruise Line together last week. So we just got back a few days ago from our first voyage on Disney's newest ship, which is the Disney Wish. And so we're really excited to talk to you tonight about the Disney Wish. We're going to talk to you a little bit about our itinerary that we went on, but we would also love to take questions that anybody has. I know I've had several people, stop me and everything that I know over the past couple of days to ask me questions about it. But I've also gotten questions through social media and, comments on posts, people wanting to know different things. So if you're watching and you want to ask those questions, feel free to go ahead and do that. We would love to take those questions and interact with you in the comment section. But I guess the first thing, Evan, to talk about is just the itinerary that we went on. So we did, this was a birthday cruise because my birthday was earlier this week. And so we did this as kind of a celebratory birthday type of thing. And so we intentionally chose a short itinerary because that's what worked best with our kids' school schedule and with our work schedules and things like that. So we did a 3-night Bahamian itinerary, and we had two ports of call that we stopped at. We stopped in Nassau, Bahamas, and we also stopped at Disney's private island, Castaway Key. And so we intentionally, picked a little bit shorter itinerary. And I had a couple of people ask me, did I feel like it was too short? Did I feel like, it was worth it or wasn't worth it to have, that short of a cruise? And I personally thought that it was perfect for what we wanted. I didn't feel like I was rushed to get everything in. I felt like we had plenty of time to walk around and explore. I mean, obviously, with any vacation, it can't be bad for it to be longer, right? So I would have liked if it was longer, but I didn't feel like we were, jilted or anything by it being a 3-night itinerary. Evan, what do you think? Do you agree or disagree with that?
I thought it was perfect. We were able to get on the cruise. We had essentially 2 full days and another half a day, really more than half a day on the boat. It was wonderful. It was great. My opinion, it was a perfect time.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, it was our daughter's first ever cruise. And our daughter is prone to motion sickness and seasickness. So we were a little bit concerned about how she would do. So we kind of tested the waters with her with a shorter itinerary. And she did great, thankfully. So I think definitely next time we do it, we probably will, go back maybe in a summer or something like that and do something a little bit longer. But I loved it. I thought it was a great itinerary. We stayed on the ship when it was docked in Nassau intentionally because we just wanted to explore. And so we thought that would be a great opportunity with other people maybe being off the ship for us to get in some pool time with, a little bit less crowds, and also get to ride the Aqua Mouse, which we did several times. Evan, you can talk about that because I know that was one of your favorite things.
So the Aqua Mouse is the onboard water roller coaster, and you're sitting in a 2-person raft, and it takes you up a hill with a little story, playing along, and then it lets you go. And man, it's incredible. It's so much fun. There's one part where you're encased, on the total surround of the glass tube, and you go out over the boat over the top of the ocean. It's pretty awesome. So my son and I rode it 3 times, I think. Ginger and our daughter rode it twice. It was a lot of fun.
It was. And, if you are a, kind of ride or coaster averse person, I still think you would enjoy this because there weren't any massive drops in it or anything like that. It was just kind of a nice little short water ride. So we really enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun. Another thing that we enjoyed doing when it was docked in Nassau was just eating a lot of food. So we'll talk more about some of our favorite dining places. But if you're on the pool deck, there's plenty of food to eat, plenty of things to do. We also got to play a little bit of trivia, which was a lot of fun. They have all kinds of trivia on board. So we played Ultimate Disney Trivia. I think that was what it was called, Ultimate Disney Trivia. And so we had like a team name. We named ourselves the Dapper Dans.
That's right, we did.
Yeah. Because they're awesome. Why would we not name ourselves the Dapper Dans? And so that was a lot of fun. They had all kinds of game shows. They had, different things that you could do in the kids club. So it's kind of, I think that our cruise director gave really good advice the first night of the cruise. He said, look, you're not going to be able to do everything. So just pick the things that fit the most with your interests and focus on those. And so that's what we did. We booked the Royal Gathering for that day, which was a 15-minute time spot where you can go meet 4 princesses, and that was free. So there was no additional charge for that over and above what we paid for the cruise. But our daughter got to meet Moana and Cinderella and Belle and Rapunzel. And that was really cool for her. It wasn't a super long line like sometimes you have in the parks when you're meeting those characters. So that was really cool. That was one of my favorite things, I think, was just how many characters were there, and how easy it was to get to them. Like you weren't waiting in super long lines. They were out all the time. They were out sometimes in different variations of their outfit. This is classic Minnie, but my daughter also got to meet Captain Minnie, and we got to have a picture with Pirate Daisy, and so it was just really a fun experience from that perspective too. And I really enjoyed it. And whether you're there with your kids or you're there just as adults by yourself, Evan and I were talking about how much fun this would have been as a honeymoon, because there's tons of stuff to do as adults as well. Like one of my favorite things that we did was we went to the Bayou, which is one of the lounges right off of the main like atrium area, and we listened to the Wishes, which is like their onboard band, and they were doing a Beatles tribute set. And my dad is a huge Beatles fan. This is the Bayou right here. It's beautiful, themed after Princess and the Frog. But my dad is a huge Beatles fan, and so I've grown up my whole life listening to Beatles music, loving it. So we really, really enjoyed that. I was, filming it for my dad and texting it to him so that he could enjoy it too. But there's all kinds of stuff like that to do. We also went to Luna Lounge. This is where they do a lot of the trivia and a lot of the games and things that you can play. Triton Lounge is another venue where they do a lot of those things. But we also went to Hyperspace Lounge, which was the Star Cruiser themed, like not Star Cruiser, Star Wars themed lounge on board. And it gave me, because I have been on the Star Cruiser at Disney World, it gave me major Star Cruiser vibes while I was in there, because they have like the space windows where you're looking out at different ships. In fact, at one point, the Star Cruiser ship, the Halcyon, actually floats through and you can see it. But they have all kinds of beverages. We ordered some of their non-alcoholic beverages so we could share with the kids. But, this was, I don't remember what it was called. Evan, do you remember what it was called?
Start with a C. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't remember. Cloud City something?
That's
I
it.
don't remember.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really good. It was like, tasted kind of like the blue milk in Galaxy's Edge, but it had like lime sherbet on top of it, or some sort of sherbet. It was really good. Our son ordered his in a collectible Porg mug because he is a giant fan of Porgs. So of course we had to get the Porg mug. But there's tons to do. Like you're never going to be bored. The kids clubs are absolutely phenomenal. They have so many different areas. The Marvel area was, as you can tell, our son's favorite part, because they have the Avengers like uniforms in there. they have, I'm a huge fan of Black Widow, so of course I get my picture with her uniform, but you can design your own Avengers uniform and then use it to like fight bad guys like in this interactive simulation, because it's the Avengers Academy. So they're training you to be an Avenger. The kids got to meet Black Panther down there. There's all kinds of Marvel characters that they could meet at different times, which is really unique. You know, you can't get that in the parks on the East Coast because of like licensing issues between Disney and Universal. So if you're going to see Marvel Cinematic Universe characters, you either have to go to Disneyland or you have to go on a Disney cruise. That's the only way you're going to get to interact with them. And so the kids really loved getting to see the Marvel side of it. There's also a Star Wars themed area in the kids clubs, those were amazing. All kinds of different things that they could do. And they really, really loved that. But they also had kind of the more classic kids clubs areas. Like they had Belle's Library, they had an art studio themed after Rapunzel, they had some Imagineering spaces, just all kinds of different places that the kids could go, and that's all included. So for kids, 3 and on up to teenagers, that's included in your cruise fare. There's no additional fee. And there's certain times when it's open house when people of all ages can go down there, which is what our kids do. They didn't feel super comfortable going down there by themselves, but they still wanted to experience the spaces. And so they could during those open house events. So that was a lot of fun. Let's talk about our stateroom now that we've kind of covered some of the onboard activities. So we chose a deluxe ocean view stateroom with a veranda. And so this particular stateroom sleeps 4 people. The picture that you're looking at here, that is a queen size bed. And then there's a little dividing curtain. And then that sofa actually flips down into a twin size bed. And then from the ceiling above the sofa, there is an upper berth that comes down. And then there's a little ladder in the closet that the kid is sleeping on the top bunk can climb up. And so it basically becomes bunk beds for the kids, which our kids absolutely loved that. And we really enjoyed having the balcony. It was absolutely beautiful. Like this is pulling into Castaway Cay. You can just see the beautiful view that we enjoyed. We were in what I think is the perfect location. And I'll let Evan talk a little bit more about the stateroom for tall people in just a second, because he's over 6 feet tall and he can speak to that aspect of it. But in terms of the location on the ship, I loved it. We were on the 8th floor. It was stateroom 8558. And we were steps away from the elevator, but it wasn't noisy. Did you think it was noisy? I didn't really ever notice hallway noise.
It wasn't noisy at all.
Yeah. And so we were steps away from the elevators, but we were also really close to the laundry room, which was very convenient because we tried to pack everything compactly. And so some of our stuff obviously got wrinkled. So it was nice to be able to go in there and use the complimentary irons that they provide to, make our clothes look nice and everything. So it was an incredibly convenient location. And I would definitely stay in that exact same stateroom again. But Evan, you're tall. So talk to tall people about how you handled cruise life.
So I'm like 6'2", 6'3". And before we even talk about that, though, I do want to say the photo you're seeing on the screen right now, there is no editing done to that photo. None whatsoever. There's no filter added to it. The water is legitimately that blue. Like that's for real. You see photos and stuff. I've told people since we got back, you see photos of like Disney's Private Island, Castaway Cay, and you think, yeah, right, like it's really that blue, whatever. No, it's really that blue. I was shocked when I saw it. It's incredible. So that was a nice little view to have all day long. If you wanted, you could sit on your balcony if you want to all day, but you could also go down there. But as far as being tall and being in the stateroom, so when I got in the shower, it came up the top of the shower head was here on me, which that's not the first time that's ever happened in my life. But the difference here was it was a detachable handheld unit. And so you could, detach the thing and it worked. So it was fine. Previously, on other times that, I've gotten into a situation where the shower head wasn't as tall as me, it was not detachable, so it was a little bit tougher. So this one was detachable, and that was good. As far as like the bed goes, I didn't have any issue. The bed was incredible. It was so soft and comfortable. There's been many times in my life when my feet hang off the end of the bed. That was not the case here. And so, as far as like sleeping arrangements, it was totally fine. Um, I had a decent sized room, really. The kids, like Ginger said, the kids love the balcony. I love the bed. We all love the balcony. The kids love the bunk beds. And I do think it's important to note, and I don't think I have a photo of it uploaded to show you, but when that top bunk bed was pulled down, and our room attendant Ryan did that every single night for us, we never had to worry about it. He had it done for us, and that's the main thing here is Disney service is second to none. I mean, like that's what you're paying for when you go on one of these cruises. And so, side note, I'll say this right now because I like Ginger and she's humble. That's one of the reasons why I like her. It literally costs you $0 extra to book your Disney vacation with her, including your Disney cruise, than it would to just book it on your own. You might say, how in the world is that possible? Well, here's how that's possible. No matter where you're going, if it's a Sandals or resort, if it's a Disney World vacation, a Universal vacation, it doesn't matter where you're going. Those vendors are going to build in the price of a travel agent into the price you pay them. So if you get online and you book it yourself, you can do that. But the thing is, you're paying for the travel agent whether you use one or not, because they've already built that into the price. So if you use a travel agent, then they just give the travel agent the commission they've already built into their price. If you don't use a travel agent, then they just pocket the extra money. I mean, that's really how it goes down. And I'm just being honest with you. So that's why you can use her as your travel agent for literally zero money to you. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But I mean, as far as the stateroom goes, the kids, Audrey, when she was on the top bunk, she's 7 years old, and she sat up there. I mean, you could tell she had plenty of room. She never once was about to bump her head, that kind of thing. There was a really cool little fairy godmother mural painting thing above her, and so that was not an issue. She had plenty of room. It was for a 6'3" person. I could walk around in there. One thing that I appreciated about the restroom situation was that the toilet was separated from the shower, and so that was a really huge deal for us. That was a cool thing. That is not common, and so that was very, very helpful.
Yeah, that's one of the things about Disney Cruise Line that does, there are many things that set Disney Cruise Line apart from some of the other cruise lines out there, but that split bathroom situation is a truly a game changer for families like ours, where there's four of us trying to get ready at the same time and everything like that. So, not all Disney stateroom categories have that. There are select ones that don't, but most of them do. And so it's nice to know that. And if you're ever wondering, is the stateroom that I've booked, is it going to have that split bathroom? That's, you can ask me. And typically when I'm sending quotes for Disney Cruise Line, I put all of that information in the quote anyway. So up front whether you have that split bathroom or not. But the bathrooms were a pretty good size for a cruise ship. In fact, that's another cool thing about Disney Cruise Line is that they are some of the largest standard staterooms in the cruise industry. And so it's a lot. I do get claustrophobic. So even when I went on the Star Cruiser, I was a little bit like, oh, how am I going to do, in this kind of more enclosed space without, in the Star Cruiser, there's not any natural light in those rooms. And on the cruise, I was like, oh, is it going to be a little bit too tight, a little too compact? But I didn't feel claustrophobic at all, and really enjoyed it. Having the veranda or the balcony, I think, is a big part of that too. Just being able to kind of go out and get some fresh air. We loved that quite a bit.
One thing I didn't say is if you're like me and you value how many USB chargers there are in the room, because you're not allowed to bring your own, charging station or dock or that kind of thing. There were at least 4, maybe 6. I can't remember exactly, but I know there were at least 4 USB charging ports in the room. And so that was a big deal for us because I mean we had cameras, batteries we had to charge, we had cell phones we had to charge. So that was adequate for sure. And as far as like the comfort, you know, when you go in the water closet part of it, um, I mean I'm 6'3", I could sit down comfortably, and so that wasn't an issue. There's a sink in both sides of the split bathroom, so there's a sink in the water closet part and in the room where the shower is. So, and it's a shower tub combo in the one we had, which was pretty good too.
Yeah, one thing to know if you've never done one before though is that the toilets flush forcefully.
Holy cow, man! Like, yeah, she's not kidding. Like the first time we flushed it, I was like, oh my goodness, like it's going to take us down with it. You know, like they say, close the lid first and then hit the button. Well, you better. That's all I got to say. We believed them, and so we did that. And man, it's strong. Like it's like, whoo, you know, and it's something to write home about, quite honestly.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about anything getting clogged in there. It's not possible. But we loved the stateroom. We would definitely stay in that exact stateroom again. It was awesome.
Primarily for the location that Ginger was mentioning. It was perfectly located. You got off it's midship. You got off the boat, or the boat, not the boat. You better not get up like you fall in the water. You get out the elevator. There you go. And literally, I mean, it was just right around the corner. It was perfect. And so we would definitely do that again. The elevator that we were right next to when you went up to the 11th floor, you walked right out onto the pool deck, and you're literally right in front of the barbecue place, which was my personal favorite location on the boat. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm a barbecue connoisseur, and so I don't give out praise lightly to barbecue. But this particular barbecue, you know, it's good if it doesn't need sauce, and this one didn't need sauce, and that's the measuring stick, in my opinion. So they also had really good brisket. The ribs were okay. I mean, you know, they're your standard ribs. The smoked kielbasa was really good. I'm not even a huge fan of that, but I like that stuff. But the barbecue pulled pork, that was where it was at.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue. Let's go ahead and talk about the food. I completely concur with Evan. Now, what he's not saying, because he too is humble, the reason why he's a barbecue connoisseur is because he is like he smokes barbecue. So he has one of those big, smokers in the backyard, and he smokes all kinds of meat, like, ribs are one of his specialties, and pulled pork. So I don't think he's ever tasted ribs anywhere that he liked as well as his that he does, or that any of us, that have had his ribs like as well as his. But the barbecue pulled pork is pretty close to yours. I think in terms of its quality, it's pretty close to, someone who spends hours out there with his smoker, putting in the right amount of wood chips and all the other things that he does. It's like a science out there. But he's not exaggerating when he says that was incredible barbecue, and that is called Mickey's Smokestack Barbecue. The whole pool deck area is themed after like the festival of food. So Mickey's Smokestack, Minnie's Ice Cream, Donald's Cantina, which was like Mexican, and then they had like Goofy's Grill, and where you could get hot dogs and chicken fingers and hamburgers and things like that. So they had lots of choices. It's all right there on the pool deck. It was never super long lines, so it was a pretty quick way to get food, and it was really, really good. But our favorite place was easily that barbecue place. But I would say probably a close second was Donald's Cantina. They had really good tacos and really good taco bowls.
Yeah, the macaroni and cheese at the barbecue place was really good. I think I tried the coleslaw. I mean, it was just standard coleslaw. The mac and cheese was really good. What Ginger was just mentioning, the Donald's Cantina. I had a steak taco. Oh my goodness, it was fantastic. The pico de gallo they put on it was so good, and the corn salsa, I think is what it was called. It was really, really good. The chicken taco was good as well. Our daughter loved their cilantro rice. It was very, very good. Our son, his exact words describing the chicken fingers were, "These are life changing." That's literally what he said. And they were good. I'll give him that. They were good. The French fries were really good too. But that was probably the things that we went to the most, was barbecue and chicken fingers and tacos, and it's all included in what you're doing, as well as the ice cream. And one nice thing about this particular ship is you don't get your own ice cream. You just walk up and you got your pick of chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, banana, soft serve ice cream, and they'll do your cone for you. So every time they hand it to you, it's like this perfect little looking cone, very sanitary, obviously, because they're wearing gloves, and you don't have other people getting it before you. So I mean, those are really good setup, and it's so fast. I mean, they can pump out those ice cream cones, all included. We may have partaken in quite a few. I may or may not have gained 3 pounds in 3 days. I can neither confirm nor deny that, but it was quite tasty in the moment.
That's true. And there's another quick service location as well, which is the Marceline Market. That's kind of the answer for the buffet, I guess, for lack of a better word. But Marceline Market served really good breakfast. They had, several different stations with your standard breakfast food, but they also had some more adventurous things for breakfast. So lots of options. Of course, they had Mickey waffles. There was a whole Mickey waffle bar where you could get, whatever topping you wanted on your Mickey waffle. Definitely a tip that I would give, though, for breakfast at Marceline Market is to get down there early, because if you wait until later in the morning, it is a little bit, we were on a sold out sailing, so it can be a little bit harder to get a place to sit, because everybody's, there at the same time. And sometimes people linger once they finished eating and they don't always get up to make the table available for somebody else. So definitely earlier is better. The next time we ate there, we got there a little bit earlier, and it was like a completely different experience. We had like our pick of different places to sit, and it was great.
If you get there after 9 o'clock a.m., I would recommend getting your food and taking it out onto the pool deck, because it's all on the same level. Get your food, take it out on the pool deck, and eat out there. That would be my recommendation. My favorite part of the whole trip, first, it was the Aqua Mouse, because it was amazing. But the day that we were at Castaway Cay, our daughter had a 3:15 Bippity Boppity Boutique appointment. So we came back early and ate lunch on the ship. And this right here was the view out of Marceline Market's deck area. And it was absolutely amazing. This was my favorite part of the entire trip. We got to sit right there and eat lunch. And since the vast majority of the ship was still on the island, we essentially had a private lunch right there. There were very, very few people even in the boat, much less in Marceline Market. And so we had a table right there at the edge of the boat, overlooking that beautiful island. And it was absolutely incredible. The food for lunch. So we'll both always shoot straight with you. The food for lunch was pretty standard. I mean, it wasn't like anything to write home about. There were like sirloin steaks. Which I mean, that was good, but I mean, it was just, standard. Yeah. There was shrimp. There was, my goodness, there's so many things. The chicken fingers that our son said were life changing. French fries again, which the French fries were really good. There was salads. There was everything you could want. Chinese food. There were chicken pot stickers that we had. But the thing that stole the show at lunch was the desserts. This may also have contributed to the fact that I gained 3 pounds in 3 days, but
allegedly.
yeah. The desserts, holy cow, they were amazing. They had these little miniature cheesecakes. It was pecan pie cheesecake. Oh man, y'all. It was really good. They had a carrot cake that was good. They had ice cream, like hand scooped ice cream that was delicious.
Those cookies.
That's exactly right. That's where I was going. They had these cookies, and they were baked so that they're about that thick, but they were like an inverted dome kind of shape, so that there was like a bowl type shape in the cookie made for the ice cream. And it was a powerful combination. Like there were chocolate chip cookies and oatmeal raisin cookies. The chocolate chip cookies were, I mean, phenomenal. Like, listen, I'm not gonna exaggerate about food. Food is serious with me, okay? And those chocolate chip cookies were absolutely phenomenal. That, that compared to the ice cream, but that pecan pie cheesecake, oh my word, it was so good. So for me, and I had like a couple plates of food, and then I came out with a whole plate full, maybe two, I can't remember, of dessert, and it was absolutely the bomb.
And, I also had some of the desserts, even though I'm diabetic, every once in a while I can have some sugar in moderation. But I will say, though, as a diabetic, that they did have at most of the restaurants, they had a no sugar added option, which was really nice. So if you are someone who has to beware of your sugar intake, there are dessert options for you on board. I also have some food sensitivities, so I just made our servers aware of that on the first night. And because we'll talk about the rotational dining here in just a second, but because your dining team moves with you from dining room to dining room, they get to know your likes and your dietary needs. So before every meal, our main server had talked to the chef about, what was in the food and let me know, like, you can have this or you can't have this. So they were really, really good about that. And I really like we've talked about quick service so far, and I agree with Evan. Marceline Market, I loved it for breakfast. It was just all right for lunch. For lunch, I would probably go out to Festival of Foods any day of
The
the week.
barbecue. Go to the barbecue.
Yes, 100%. And so, but the main dining rooms, so Disney does rotational dining. So you're not going to the same dining location every night. You're going to one of three. So on a 3-night cruise, you obviously have a different place every night. On a 4-night cruise, which right now the Wish is just doing 3-night and 4-night itineraries, you would go to one of them obviously twice, but one of those times would be like a pirate themed menu. So we had a pirate night on the 3-night cruise, but it wasn't a pirate menu in the restaurant. It was just like a deck party and awesome fireworks, which were amazing. And that's another thing unique to Disney Cruise Line are fireworks at sea. So that was pretty cool. We won't spoil some of the surprises about the pirate show, but I will say that there was one part at the end where we were like, oh, wow, that's so cool. So, and that was before they even started the fireworks. But the rotational dining, it's a different themed restaurant every night. So our first night on board, we ate at Worlds of Marvel, which is obviously themed after the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You're at an Avengers technology showcase, and you are Ant-Man and the Wasp are your hosts in that. And there's a lot of action on video screens around the restaurant. And so you have a larger version of this. This is a souvenir cup that we bought from Worlds of Marvel, but you have a larger interactive like thing that looks like this in the middle of your table where you have to push buttons at specific times to like do things in keeping with the story. And I will not spoil what it is because someone spoiled it for me and I wasn't happy about that. So I'm not going to be that person who spoils it for you guys that are watching. But I will say that a common theory regarding the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which we are huge fans of, was pretty much confirmed through Worlds of Marvel because, obviously the things that are happening on those screens are canon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you are a big Marvel fan, you want to get yourself on the Wish so you can have that dining experience.
So I totally agree. That was actually, I mean, the food was good. It was really good. This is what I had at Worlds of Marvel, and you can notice the Avengers logo on the plate there. Our server Richard, he recommended this, and he was spot on, buddy. It was angel hair pasta. I don't even remember what all sauce was on it. It was absolutely fantastic. It was delicious, and despite the food being so amazing, Ginger's exactly right. Quite honestly, the most important thing about that meal is the ramifications it has on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like there's a big deal happens in that dinner on screen. And obviously there's characters that show up. We happen to have Spider-Man when we were there who showed up, came up to our table. Most of the time it is Ant-Man and Wasp. And so, but once again, there's a big deal that happens in the story of the dinner, and it's a really significant deal for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Absolutely. And I had I think a vegetarian gnocchi dish and it was delicious. It was really, really good. The great thing about that rotational dining though is that you don't have to just order one entree. Like yes, they give you a menu, but all of the food is included. So if you want to get two entrees, get two entrees. If you want to order all the desserts, order all the desserts. There were a couple of times when we definitely ordered more than one appetizer because I couldn't choose. So I was like, I want both. And they brought me both because you've paid for it. So, get the most out of it. But we loved Worlds of Marvel. I think theming wise, that was probably our son's favorite. But the second night we had dinner at Arendelle, which is obviously Frozen themed. The theme of this is that you're at Queen Anna and Kristoff's engagement party, and it is hosted by Wandering Oaken, who has expanded his trade shop into a party planning business. And so he is absolutely hysterical. But of course, Anna and Elsa and Olaf and Kristoff are all present. And so I had heard that they didn't all make it to your table. And I don't know if we were just lucky, but they all made it to our table. So we got to talk to every Frozen character, including Olaf, and that was really cool. But I have to say that the best thing, other than just the atmosphere in there, I mean, you genuinely feel like you are in the castle in Arendelle. It is themed to the nines. Walking down the entrance in there, you're literally walking through the picture gallery in for the first time in forever. So like we walked past Joan of Arc and I went, hang in there, Joan. Like that's it. You feel like you're in the movie. And so that was incredible. It's beautiful theming.
And I will give a plug for Ginger's YouTube channel right now. She actually has a walk down that aisle uploaded as a YouTube short right now. You can find that on youtube.com/gingermmt. She also has a tour of our room already uploaded as a YouTube short right now. So you can find that on there. And there will be videos of all these meals that we're talking about. We got footage of every one. And so we're going to make meal reviews of every single rotational dining meal. We've got just general footage of the boat that we're going to show you in videos. We got a room tour that like a full room tour with Ginger narrating that we're going to make. I mean, we got a Bippity Boppity boutique video that we're going to make out of this. We got a lot of videos coming about this too. So, but that's already on what she just mentioned about walking down that hallway going into Arendelle. It's on there. You can find that right now.
Yeah, and it's beautiful in there. But I think honestly my favorite part of that was the stage show. The people. Oh, hey Ryan, thanks for watching. The people who were doing the music were phenomenal. And I'm not just talking about the Frozen cast. They had musicians that Oaken had hired to sing, and they were amazing. There was a violinist who killed it. She was phenomenally talented. So I loved that aspect of it, and getting to just experience the music. And at the end, Kristoff and Oaken sang Let It Go, and that was absolutely hysterical. Brought the house down. We loved it. And the food was really good. I ordered basically stroganoff. It wasn't called stroganoff, but that's pretty much what it was. And it was really good. Evan, I don't remember what you had that night.
So I was craving a steak when we got there. By the way, both of us agreed after going to all three rotational dining places, Arendelle was our favorite. The theming, like Ginger said, I mean, you feel like you're there really. The detail of the theming around the place. But the thing that made it our favorite, I mean, the theming at Worlds of Marvel is excellent too, and the theming at 1923, which we'll talk about in a minute, is beautiful. But the thing, like Ginger's saying, that made it so good was the entertainment. Like you are watching the royal celebration, and she mentioned the violinist that she did like this rock solo on violin at one point, and it was incredible. I mean, like,
yeah, it was Into the Unknown that she played. Mm-hmm.
And it was really good. Like, I mean, really good. Like this rock version of it. It was. You got to go see it. And then I almost said the person who was Elsa. Of course, it's Elsa. It's certainly Elsa. She is the best Elsa of any Elsa I've ever seen, because she is Elsa. I mean, obviously, and so she was fantastic. They all had incredible voices. Like Ginger said, Oaken was hilarious. But the food there was fantastic. That was another reason why it was our favorite. In my opinion, it had the best food of all three. From the bread that came out first, and the bread was different at every place. The bread there was, in my opinion, the best. The food I was craving a steak, but our server Richard recommended this pan-seared fish, and he didn't lead me astray the first night at Worlds of Marvel, so I trusted him and I went with it. But I also really wanted that steak, so I got both, because you can do that because it's all included. And that steak was incredible. It was the best steak. I had filet mignon the next night at 1923, but that steak was better at Arendelle. It was so tender. It was amazing. And then Richard was exactly right. The fish was phenomenal as well. It was so. I mean, he said it melts in your mouth. Well, he was right. It sure did. And so that food was fantastic. For dessert, I can't remember what I had for dessert, but I remember it was really good too. Do you remember what we got?
I had something that had oh goodness, it had marzipan, and it was like an almond lemon cake or something like that, and it was so good. But I don't remember what you had. I don't remember, but it was the kids ordered a sundae,
Yeah,
right?
they got a sundae. I remember
Mhm.
eating part of that because they didn't finish it, so I did. I'm not gonna let it go to waste.
Yeah, when we edit the video from Arendelle, we'll remember what Evan had for dessert, but I don't remember. We ate a lot of food,
It was
so
good. I remember that. I
yeah.
mean, nothing was bad there. That's why it was our favorite, because
Yeah.
everything was good. And then as you're walking out, I put a photo up here a minute ago, but I've got like 50 something photos. I'm scrolling through trying to find the one I'm looking for. But there was Queen Anna's throne as you're walking out, and that's another thing about this, is that it's up to date as far as like which movie you're talking about. And so this was Queen Anna's throne, and you got to sit on it and get your photo. That was pretty cool. This was coming down that hallway, and this is at the very, very front entrance. They have an Arendelle sign there. It was just a really neat thing. There was also I put a photo up a minute ago of this. This was right inside the entrance as well. Congratulations, Queen Anna and Kristoff, on their royal engagement. And so it was fun. It was a fun meal, and it was delicious food.
Yeah, I agree. And then the last night, and also the morning that we debarked, we had breakfast there again, was 1923. And 1923 is kind of like Art Deco themed. It's themed after the year that the Walt Disney Company was founded. And there's two sides to this restaurant. So there's a Roy Disney side and there's a Walt Disney side. We were in the Walt Disney side. So it feels like a little bit more intimate dining experience because it is split. But as you can see kind of behind us in this picture, beautiful views of the water all around you. So there's really not a bad table in this restaurant. But it's a little bit more relaxed here. So there's a lot going on at the other two because there's show elements. This one is just a really nice, relaxing, enjoyable meal. And so for us, it was great for the last night because it just kind of gave us a chance to like decompress. But the food was excellent, and it was really a beautiful restaurant. I love Art Deco, so I was all about it. But everywhere in there, there's nods to Disney animation and all kinds of like history in there as well, which was also really interesting. Did you want to add anything about that? He gave you a double filet mignon. I remember that.
That's right. I was trying to find the photo of the sundae that we got for dessert, because here they had churros and a sundae, and I think this is where I think I may have gotten 3 desserts here. This is where I got I have no idea what it was. It was some kind of apple tart with something on top of it.
Cinnamon cheesecake.
There it is. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man, it was so good. And I have a photo of it, and I was trying to find it to put it up here, but like I said, I'm scrolling through like 50 something photos, and I can't find it real quick. So you can just trust me, it was really good.
And when we edit the footage, you'll see it again. We put
That's
it on
exactly
YouTube.
right.
I had some sort of goodness, I don't even remember. It was like a lemon blueberry, and it was kind of like cream, pastry cream, but I don't remember the actual name for it. But I'm a sucker for anything lemon blueberry, and it was delicious, so I loved it.
But yeah, so Ginger mentioned the double filet mignon. So our server, I guess he noticed that I kept ordering 2 meals, and so he recommended the filet mignon that night. He recommended it, and so he was 2 for 2 at that point on his recommendations. So I trusted him because I was going to get it anyway. And when it came, there were 2 filet mignons on my plate, and I just figured maybe that's just how it came, And it came with mashed potatoes that were very, very good, and so I just figured that must have been what the case was. Well, then he leaned down to me and he said, "Hey, do you like my double there?" And so he put in a double order for me, anticipating that I might want 2. So that was really cool. That was a really neat. Like I said, Disney service is second to none, and that's what you're really getting when you pay for a Disney cruise.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about every cast member that we interacted with, from Ryan, our stateroom attendant, to our whole dining team. We had 3 people on our dining team, to the guest services. There were a couple of things going on with our account that I had to talk to guest services about. We had an issue with one of the kids' magic bands from the kids club that we had to talk to them about. And they were always super helpful and polite and very prompt. And I really don't have anything but amazing things to say about all of the cast members. We haven't talked yet about Castaway Cay. We've just kind of mentioned it in passing, but obviously a stop at Castaway Cay is not specific to the Wish. There are other Disney ships that are going to stop there as well. Really anything with a Bahamian or Caribbean itinerary for the most part is going to stop there. But Castaway Cay is the easiest beach day you will ever have in your life, because you just have to bring yourself and your Key to the World card down, and you really don't need anything else. They provide you with towels. There's food on the island that's included. There's already chairs and umbrellas that are set up for you. There are restrooms. There's places to shop if you want to. I mean, you can get, merchandise you can only get on Castaway Cay in these shops. So it really is the easiest beach day that you will ever have, because you're not having to haul a million things down to the beach. You also have just beautiful, pristine water, gorgeous white sandy beaches. So pretty. We were on the family beach section, but there's also a sports beach section, which is a little further down. And then there is an adults only Serenity Bay beach section as well. So if you want to drop the kids off at Scuttles Cove, which is the on island kids club, and then go over mom and dad to the adults only area, you definitely can. But we loved it on the family beach. Plenty of seating. We weren't having to scramble for chairs or anything like that. I definitely, for Castaway Cay, would recommend, though, getting down there as early as you can, because the longer we were down there, the more people you did kind of congregate in the area where we were. Now, we probably could have moved a little further down the beach and been as secluded as we were, the day at the start of the day, but we had to get back on the ship anyway because of Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. But I loved Castaway Cay. That was probably my one of my favorite things that we did, was getting to stop there. We also rented aqua trikes while we were there, which you can see in this picture. They're literally what they sound like. They're tricycles on top of the water. And so we could paddle out to the boat. And paddling out to the boat is easier than paddling back to the beach, we found, because the momentum is not your friend on the way back. And so we were pretty tired. We had a 30-minute rental on those. We did not make it 30 minutes, I will tell you that. So, but it was super fun. You could paddleboard if you wanted to. You could kayak. You could snorkel if you wanted to do that. There was a Stingray escape that you could book. All kinds of fun things to do on Castaway Cay. It's a blast.
So we talked about being in the staterooms as a person who's 6'3". So I'll also talk about these aqua trikes as a person who's 6'3". That metal bar that you see going there, that is not designed for a person who's 6'3". My knee felt it. I'm telling you. So if I had to do it over, which maybe someday, I hope to do it. I want to go parasailing because they had parasailing going on. They had banana boat riding. They had, or banana raft, not boat. Banana boat's the sunscreen brand. But they had paddle boats. They had those aqua trikes, canoes. I mean, they had a lot of stuff. I want to go parasailing because it looked awesome. It looked really good. The water trikes seemed like a really cool thing, and they were super cool. But when you are shouldering the majority of the force and paddling the water trike, you get worn out real quick, let me tell you. And then when you're going against the current, it is not easy to get back to where you need to be. And so that you have a ton of wide open space to paddle in, though. So that's really good. But that is one thing that, knowing now what I know now, that bar, that metal bar going across, I could not pedal the boat very well at all in a comfortable position because my knee kept bashing into that bar every time I pedaled. So I will much rather do the parasailing this next time because that looked, and they had jet skis and sea-doos. So I'll partake in other activities. The snorkeling looked really cool. Ginger said there's a little not obstacle course, but a scavenger hunt essentially under the water that they have for you in the snorkeling. So I'll probably definitely do that next time as well. But I mean, aqua trikes are a fun thing for one time, but it was a one-time thing.
And you can rent boats on Castaway Cay. You can run a 5K and get a medal if you want to do that. There's all kinds of nature trails that you can hike and all kinds of cool stuff. So they're not going to be bored. And if you just want to sit on the beach, you can just sit on the beach. That's totally fine too.
So one important thing I think to know about that Castaway Cay 5K, we knew somebody who did it, but we also ran into another person who did it while we were there. And, we got down off the boat probably shortly after we got to the beach at like 9:25 in the morning. At like 9:45, at the latest 10, I think it was 9:45 because I think I remember checking my watch. There was a lady who came walking past us and she mentioned just finished the 5K, that kind of thing. She was already done at 9:45. So if you're concerned like, oh man, I only get to be on this island for a day, I want to take advantage of it and not miss any time, I don't want to run the 5K and miss out on time, don't worry, you'll be done in plenty of time. You'll still have 6 hours or something after that, and more than that even, 8 hours to stay out on the beach, almost probably 7 to 8 hours. And so don't worry if you're concerned like, well, I don't want to waste my time doing the 5K. If no, don't worry about that. You'll have plenty of time. You can get that medal that you can only get by running that race on that island and still have a whole day on the island itself.
Absolutely. And wonderful beach day. Highly recommend and choosing an itinerary that drops you at Castaway Cay because it's incredible. And if you want a really beautiful view of it, you can come back to the ship for lunch and eat at that table outside Marceline Market. But we absolutely loved our time on the Disney Wish. I would 100% sail on the Wish again. I would definitely, ideally, I would book a back-to-back, which is the 3-night that leads right into a 4-night. But whether you do that or you do the 3-night or you do the 4-night, you're going to have an incredible time. Really, the only difference between the 3-night and the 4-night itinerary is with the 4-night, you have a day at sea. So you have a little bit extra time to explore the ship. If you do want to get off in Nassau, you would still have a day on the ship with the 4-night itinerary. So that's a really great option. The 4 nights go from Monday to Friday, and the 3 nights goes from Friday to Monday. So they're fantastic sailings. Highly recommend it. But any Disney ship, whether you're on any of the other 4 or the brand new Wish or even the brand new Treasure that they're building right now, you're going to have a phenomenal time. You're going to have incredible service. You're going to have the opportunity to experience, the Disney magic in the theme parks. But I really think in just a little bit more relaxed, way than what you have at the theme parks. You can just kind of go a little bit more at your own pace, and it's a great vacation on its own, but it's also a great vacation to tag at the end of a trip to Disneyland or to Disney World, because you can go in the parks, and then you can kind of decompress on the ship, and you get to experience the magic of a land and sea vacation. So I have planned a lot of those for clients, and would definitely love the opportunity to plan it for any of you. But we thank you so much for watching with us tonight. We thank you for those of y'all that dropped comments. We did have a couple of those come through. If you happened upon this later and we're no longer live, you can still ask me questions. I'm happy to come back and answer those. I'm always monitoring my Facebook page and my YouTube channel for comments on videos. So feel free to drop those and I can come back and answer those later. But again, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in a cruise, you can find my quote form at gingermmt.com. Just click on the upper right or left hand corner of gingermmt.com, which is my blog. And speaking of blogs, I do have a brand new blog post that I just published yesterday that is all about tips for first time Disney cruisers. So if you've never done a Disney cruise and you want to know some of my main advice for people who are cruising for the first time, check out that blog post over on gingermmt.com. But we hope to talk to you guys really soon. Hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye.